Don't forget to like and subscribe to Jolie Knots Crochet. Share with your friends. Hit that little notification bell so you can get notified when new patterns release. All our videos are available in left and right-handed tutorials. Hi everyone, welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal and today we're going to learn how to make the corner to corner Alpine stitch. Now this stitch has a lot of beautiful, amazing texture. It is worked from one corner to the next corner, so our front post double crochets are in the opposite direction, and if you have a self-striping yarn, then of course you're going to be able to see it and come through in that manner. Now this can be worked in any size. You can make it a square, you can make it a rectangle. I'm going to teach you how to decrease and how to increase. So if you are making a large afghan, you can do squared. If you're going to do a rectangle, you will stop increasing on one side and continue increasing on the other. All right, the materials I'm using today is a 3-weight yarn and a 5mm hook. Now you can use whatever yarn that you like. You just want to go up a hook size. Okay everyone, go ahead and grab your materials and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take a slip knot, only this time we're going to make it a backwards slip knot because we're going to be working into our first chain. We want to be able to pull our tail and make it tighter. So chain 4, and now we're going to put 4 double crochets into the first chain. Your first chain 3 does count as a double crochet, so you should have 5 double crochets, and now you can pull your chain closed. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn your work, and we're going to single crochet on the top of every stitch. We're not increasing and we're not decreasing, we're just single crocheting. Don't forget your chain 3 at the end. You should have 5 single crochets. Now you chain 2, turn your work, and we're going to work an increase in the first stitch, which is 3 double crochets. Now our next stitch, we're going to drop down to our first row, and we're going to put a front post double crochet around the stitch directly underneath it, which should be your second stitch. Now we're going to skip 1 stitch because it's counting as worked, and we're going to double crochet into the next. And now we're going to drop down again and put another front post double crochet. It should be your second to your last stitch from row 1. Now we've got 1 stitch left, so we're going to double crochet 3 times to increase at the end of our row. You should have 2 front post double crochets with 1 double crochet in the middle and 3 double crochets on each side. Now you'll chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to single crochet. We're repeating row 2, just single crocheting into every stitch all the way down. For row 5, we're going to chain 2. Turn your work, and we'll work an increase into our first stitch, which is 3 double crochets. And from here on out, our 3rd row and our 5th row are going to be alternating. So in this 3rd row, we worked 3 double crochets and then our front post. And in our 5th row, we're going to work 3 double crochets, and then we're going to work 1 more double crochet into the next stitch, And that's going to bring us up to right before the front post double crochet was worked from the previous round. So we're going to front post double crochet around that stitch. Skip one stitch in the back and double crochet into the next, which should be right on top of your single crochet that's above your front post double crochet. Now we're going to front post double crochet around the next stitch. So these are just going to be staggered front post double crochets, and the beginnings will be 3 double crochets and then 4 double crochets. Double crochet into the next stitch, and now we're going to work one more front post double crochet. So you should have a total of 3 front post double crochets, and then we should have 2 stitches left. And what we're going to do is work 1 double crochet into that first stitch and 3 into your last stitch. That's our increase. We're increasing by 2 double crochets in each side of the row. Now row 6, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to repeat row 2. Single crochet all the way down. We're not increasing, we're not decreasing, we're just putting 1 single crochet at the top of every stitch. We'll chain 2 and we'll turn our work. And now we're going to repeat. We're repeating rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. So of course your even numbers are all just single crochets. That's the same one throughout. Now we're alternating row 3 and row 5. So repeating row 3, we're working an increase. So 3 double crochets into your first stitch. Now we're going to work 1 front post double crochet around our second double crochet from the double crochet row before that. Now remember, your chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so don't count that as a stitch. Our front post double crochet is going to go around the second stitch, skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next, and that should bring us right up to the double crochet in the previous row before our front post double crochet. So remember, we're alternating and we're staggering our front post double crochets. Skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next, and then front post double crochet, skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next, front post double crochet. Skip 1 stitch into the next, double crochet, and then front post double crochet. Skip 1 stitch into the next, double crochet. Now we've got 2 stitches left here, so we're going to work 1 front post double crochet around the second stitch from the end and into our last single crochet of the row. We're working 3 double crochets just like we did over on this side. That's our repeat row of row 3. So row 1 was your 5 double crochets, row 2 is your single crochet row. Row 3, 4 is a single crochet row, 5, 6 is a single crochet row. So this row started and ended with 3 double crochets, which means that our next double crochet will start and end with 4 double crochets. Chain 1 and work your single crochets all the way across. Now you'll chain 2 and turn your work. Now this double crochet row, remember, we'll start with 4 because our last one started with 3. So we're going to put 3 into our first stitch, and then 1 into the stitch after that. That's going to bring us up to our front post double crochet that will fall before the previous one. Skip 1 stitch, double crochet, and that's what you're going to work all the way down. We'll work 1 more single crochet row after this, and then I'll teach you how to decrease. In our decreases, they'll be just like our increases. Our single crochet row has no decrease and no increase, and then we're alternating in our decrease rows for our double crochets. Here I am at the end. I've got 2 stitches left, so 1 double crochet. We'll go into that first stitch and into the last stitch, 3 double crochets. Now I'm going to work my row of single crochets, and then I'm going to teach you how to decrease. So far your work should look like this. It does seem like it wants to start curling in, but that's not a problem. It'll all still work out. So to increase, remember, we are repeating rows 3, 4, 5, and 6. Your even numbered rows are all single crochets, and your odd double crochet rows are alternating. Chain 1, turn your work, and work your single crochets all the way down. Chain 2, turn your work, and here's how we're going to work our first decrease row. We're going to double crochet partial, well, we're going to double crochet 3 together. So 3 double crochets will be partial over our first 3 stitches. So into our first stitch, 1 partial double crochet, and into the next stitch, 1 partial double crochet. Into our third stitch, partial double crochet, and then we'll yarn over and pull through all 3 stitches, so we've just decreased 1 stitch. Now the next stitch, the double crochet below that, remember we're staggering them, so we're going to front post double crochet around that first one right before your first front post double crochet. Skip 1 stitch, double crochet, and now this is our normal pattern. Continue working that to the end. Here we are at the end, and we've got 3 stitches left. We're going to double crochet 3 together. 3 partial double crochets, and then we'll pull through all loops. Now we're going to repeat row 2 just like normal, our single crochet row. Single crochet in every stitch. Chain 2 and turn your work. Now here's our second alternate decrease row. So our first one was just 3 double crochets together at the beginning and at the end with our regular alpine stitch in the middle. Now here's our second one. We're having 2 partial double crochets, and then our third partial double crochet will be a front post double crochet. Now we'll skip 1 stitch, double crochet into the next, front post double crochet, work that mini repeat around, skipping 1, double crochet, here we are at our last 3 stitches. So in this one, our first stitch is going to be a partial front post double crochet, and then we'll put 2 partials in our last 2 stitches, and that's going to bring us to a decrease of 3 stitches to 1. Pull through all 4 loops, chain 1, turn your work, and repeat your single crochet row. Chain 2, turn your work, and now we're going to repeat our first decrease row. So this one had a partial double crochet in our decrease, and the one before that just had 3 double crochet decrease. So that's what we're going to work here. 3 double crochets together, after your 3 double crochet together, that's going to bring you up to your front post double crochet. We'll continue our pattern, skipping 1 stitch, double crocheting into the next, front post double crochet, skipping 1 stitch, double crocheting into the next, all the way to the end, until you have 3 stitches left, and then we'll do 3 double crochets together. And that's what you're going to repeat in your decrease rows. So our next row here is going to be a single crochet row, no increasing, no decreasing. Chain 2, turn your work. Now remember, we're alternating. In this row we had 3 double crochets together, and this row we had 2 and a front post. So here we're going to do 2 partial double crochets and then a partial front post double crochet, pull through all, skip 1 stitch, double crochet. Here we are at the end. We've got our partial double crochet, and then over the last 2 stitches, 2 more partials, pull through all loops, chain 1, single crochet row, chain 2, turn your work, and here's how we're going to finish this out. We are going to double crochet 5 together. We've got our first one. Our second one will be a front post partial double crochet, and then another partial double crochet, skip 1 partial double crochet, and then we've got 2 stitches left, so partial double crochet, front post double crochet, and then your last stitch. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all of your loops, chain to secure, and then you can fasten that off. Now I know these edges curl up right here. Now this edge curls up right here. You can give that a nice little stretch. I went over it and steamed it with my iron, and it just fell right down and flat. Alright, thank you everybody for watching Jolie Knots Crochet. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, join our Jolie Knots Crochet community, and show us the creations that you've made.